Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been talking MIT's Inventor 2 with you in this series of videos that we are putting on for the Rankin Technical College Summer Academic Adventure Series. And as you can see, this is the way that the Xylophone currently looks. I based it off of this. The colors aren't perfect. I could make a lot of changes, but they're not bad right now, and I think it's pretty representative. Okay, so before I go and add the code for the play and the reset buttons, let's just talk about one more thing here, and or a couple things. The first thing is what I want to do here. So the first thing that we're concerned with right here is we're going to add three variables. The first one, and if you don't remember how to add variables, let's just remove these and we'll re-add them. So I come over to variables and initialize variable global name, and then I'm just going to go and duplicate it twice. The first one is just going to be a counter, so I'm going to call it count. And I'm going to actually initialize that using my math to 0. Alright, and secondly, what we want to do second here is a little bit different, because I want to create a couple more variables, and one will be holding our notes and the other one is going to be holding basically the pattern that we end up playing. Alright, and those two variables are going to be a different kind of variable that we haven't looked at yet, and it's called a list. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to call it notes. And I'm going to initialize that to, now I've got to remember how to do this. I don't remember if that's in math or not. Of course not. List would make sense, wouldn't it? So we're going to initialize that to create empty list. So there's our first one. And as you can guess, we can now duplicate this and put it over here. And let me do this. Let me move that down a little. So there's our three variables. And again, this will be called times. And don't worry about what that means, because we're going to go over that in just a few minutes. All right. So we now have our screen initialized as far as color, but when you think about it, if we go back here for a minute and we go back to our designer, there's really a couple more things that I want to add here, and they're both going to be components that are non-visible components. The first one is I want to come in here and I'm going to want to add a sound component. I believe sound was under media. So I'm just going to click it there. Remember, that's a non-visible, so it comes down here. All right. And the other one that I'm going to do, in addition to a sound component, is I'm going to do a timer. And where was timer? I don't want a time picker. I actually want a timer. We'll find it. Well, I know there's a timer in here. Or was it a clock? That might be. Okay, let me pause for just a moment here. All right, so it was a clock. So there. So I now have, and I'm getting the select list error, which not not sure why I'm getting that. I'm going to dismiss that for right now. All right. And we'll talk about the sound component in the clock in just a minute. In fact, let's talk about the sound component now. What I did was I went out to, and I Googled xylophone note sounds. And fortunately for me, I found it out on freesound.org because I just registered for an account there. And literally, what they have there is, if you listen, they have all of the different sounds. Okay, so it's telling me to log in, and I have set up an account. That's interesting. Well, let's try that one. Thought I did it through Rankin. All right, so I'm going to download all of these sounds. Now remember that as we go through these, and I'm doing this more probably for my own edification as opposed to yours, but the order in which we want these are high C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and that corresponds with what we have here. High C, D, E, F, G, A, B, low C. That's the notes that we have right here. You'll notice that these are gray because I'm not setting the colors until runtime. And I did that so that I was able to go and set my own customized colors. All right, so let's go in and start grabbing these. So I'm just going to download each one of these. That was D. Here is E. You can hear that. Well, this is really, really working slowly right now for whatever reason. All right. So I've got D and I've got E. Here is F. So you can hear it. There it is. So I've got D, E, and F. Let's do G next. Play it for you. There's G. Let's download G. Here's A. Oops. Here's B. here will be our two C's. So here is, that's low C, I believe. And then finally we'll have high C, which I think they called C2. All right, now I'm going to pause for just a moment, and I'm going to go and I'm going to change the names of all those and bring them in to the program. So just give me a second, please. All right, so here I have my sounds, and they are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, hopefully all that made sense. Now, did I have to name them that? No, I could have really and truly named them anything I wanted to, but to me, it seemed like a good idea to just name them like that. Again, I could have just changed the names as we talked about. All right, so what I want to do is, I had a decision to make then. Close this. And that is, when I was going to come in here, did I want to use literally 8 different sound components, one for each note, or one sound component? And the way I looked at it is, the way that this app is set up, you can only play one sound at a time, or one note at a time. So I decided to just use my one sound component. And unfortunately, that means our initialize is going to get even bigger. And so what I did was I came in here and I grabbed my sound, and I wanted to set the source on here. Okay? And I want to do this for all 8 of them. All right? But now I literally have to go in and set them all to a value. Okay? So what I have to do is jump back for a moment, and just so you know, I don't have to do it from here. I'm just used to always going back into designer mode and hitting the upload file, which is what I want to do. But you may or may not have noticed that in my blocks editor, there is also an upload file. So I can click there, choose my file, and I want to go to my desktop, audio, video, images, not images, I'm sorry, sounds, and rename Xylophone. So we want to add first wave 1. We're just going to add each one of those just so you can see them happening. You can see there's one dot wave. 2 dot wave. 3 dot wave. 4 dot wave. 5 dot wave. 6 dot wave. 7 dot wave. And lastly, 8 dot wave. So I now have all my sound files. All right, so what I want to do is I want to come in, and in here I want to set all these accordingly. All right, so what I'm going to do, and this will just take me a moment, is let's come in here and let's put in a blank, and we'll put in here 1 dot wave. And the good news is all I have to do now is copy this, but I'm going to have to change it every time from 1 to 2 to 3, to 4, 5, 6, 7, and lastly, as you'd guess, 8. Now this is just setting the source and it's bringing in all of those WAV files. Nothing's going to play yet. Nothing magical is going to happen yet because I, again, have not yet programmed. I have not programmed the reset and I have not programmed the play buttons. All right, the play button is going to be fairly big in size. I think we're going to do that next. And after we do that, then we'll play our different notes. Okay, and then after we do that, we'll basically end up with our reset button. Okay, so I think this is a good place to stop, and I will continue then in the next video.